Hey, I'm Logan.
And I'm Alyssa.
And this is Marketer's Cut, a podcast that you probably forgot about because I think it's been roughly a year since we've recorded. What do you think that's about right?
We're actually waiting for our 1-year anniversary to record, and that's why here we are.
Well, the funny thing is our 1-year anniversary was a month ago. We actually did an episode like a week before our 1-year anniversary as a podcast, and then decided to go dark for a month for reasons that
we didn't really decide that.
We're not going to disclose it to you. Like, why are you asking? Anyways, we're back. We're going to try to be back at the very least bi-weekly. We have a very busy time coming up. But we're excited to be back with a new movie, a new release. Just came out this weekend. It's called Eternals, the new MCU film.
See, we could have gotten away with that if you wouldn't have made it seem like we hadn't recorded in a year. We could have acted like we recorded this weekend this came out.
We could have been like, hey, new episode, brand new movie, and then people would be like, no, that came out 4 weeks ago. And it's like, well, no. Your podcasting's broken, actually.
No one would have said that because no one listens to our podcast. So we could have just kept going. You ruined it.
Look, I like being honest with the fans. I feel like if there's not a level of honesty, transparency, then
but then you just said this is a new movie. So
that's called sarcasm. It's funny.
Okay.
Read a joke book, please.
All right, okay.
God, you've clearly never read a joke book before.
Yep.
Okay, let's get going on Eternals. So this movie is directed by the Oscar-winning director of Nomadland, Chloe Zhao. And here's a synopsis from IMDb. The saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations. Very high level. Not getting into the nitty-gritty at all. It's fine, right?
It's fine.
It's fine. So this movie came out, I'm not sure if this date's right, but I won't double check it, but November 5th. Again, I thought it was last weekend, but the document here that somebody wrote is saying November 5th. You think this movie did well?
No.
Oh. Well, it opened to 71 million, which is pretty decent. Domestic, at the time of me doing this research, which was already about a week late, it made 81 million domestically and 90 million internationally. So for a total of 171 million. Now, can you give your thoughts on that for approximately 15 to 20 seconds while I do not research the updated numbers for the box office?
Sure.
Okay.
I feel like that a lot of people didn't like this movie, so I feel like everyone would be like, ugh, don't see it. It was awful. And then that's going to be it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So someone just threw some papers across my desk, and the updated numbers, breaking news, Eternals has made 150.6 million domestically, 217.8 internationally, for a total of a little over $368 million.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty decent. I don't see budget numbers for here, but budget numbers for Marvel movies are always like in the 150-ish range, you know? Very expensive. So, yeah, this movie... let's think about it this way. Marvel has had billion-dollar movies. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's had billion... This movie is probably going to end... I think with how long it's been out, I'm not sure it'll cross the 400 million mark. Mm-hmm. Overall, that's kind of a disappointment. Again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. What is a good performance in a pandemic? I don't know. That's entirely up to what the studios want to look at and say, like, oh, well, we're okay with accepting this number in this time, you know? Mm-hmm. But if we're looking at it, just comparing it to the MCU, it's definitely on the lower end of the box office, of the box office there. I think part of that is maybe that it's like the longest MCU film ever.
Is it?
I think so. It's maybe the longest outside of the Avengers movies.
Well, yeah, Avengers, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And that... So, yeah, of course, it's a long movie. People don't want to go out and spend 3 hours sitting in a theater with, potentially sick friends and neighbors. Another thing, though, about long movies is that you can fit less showtimes in. So, for example, if your theater opens at like noon, and you have a 2-hour movie, you can play a show at like 12. What do you think? 12, 3, 6, 9. You know, you got 4 showings in there.
Yeah.
If your movie is 3 hours long, then you can do 12, 4, 7. And that's it, really.
Yeah, that's it.
You kind of lose a showtime. You lose a block. That wasn't the perfect example, but from experience, we can both say that it's very tough to fit in more showtimes for a significantly longer movie.
Especially when right now theaters are curtailing their schedules and they're not open what would be probably like a 10 to a 10. You're getting more of like, as you said, you're getting more of like a 12 to a 9 on the weekends.
With a lot of places too, it's more like they're cutting off that first block of shows altogether, so they're not opening until 2 or 3. So you get that 2 or 3 start time, and again, you're just losing a showing from that automatically, and then you get a longer movie, and you can't physically fit it in that fast. So that also probably plays into it, not as much as. What am I trying to say? I mean, like, again, Avengers was very, very long, but theaters stayed open later. They opened earlier for that movie. That's not happening with Eternals. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie is? Let's start with the audience score. You said a lot of people don't like this movie, so what do you think the audience score is?
I think it's 56.
Okay. 80.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty liked among audiences, pretty much. Critic, though, what do you think that is?
56.
Nope. 47.
Close.
Yeah, close.
I was close.
No, this movie did not do well with critics at all. It's actually the first MCU film to be rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Which is a shock. It's a shock, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think either of us thinks it deserves like a rotten score. You know, if anything, it's one of the more like interesting things that's been done in a while.
Yeah.
By the MCU, I feel like. But that's where it ended up. So that also doesn't really help this movie at all. Cinema score, it had a B cinema score, which again is not great. You know, if you're talking about the people going to see this movie in a pandemic, you're gonna most likely have like the fans, the people that really want to see it. So to walk away with a B cinema score, again, isn't good.
B is for boo.
Sure. Could also be for
bananas.
I was gonna say boo, but
oh no,
that's what I thought you said at first, actually. And
no,
I realized you didn't.
no.
And I was like, why is Alyssa saying this on our movie marketing podcast? This is a family show.
Well, then it could also be for banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a family show. It's a joke. I mean, only our family listens to it, but it's not a family show. Okay. Before I move on, I kind of want to talk a little bit about, did you see a lot of the online discussion around this movie?
Nope.
So again, like looking at online discussion, you can't look at it and say like, oh, this is how the general audience is looking at this movie. But a lot of fans seem to not like the fact that this movie was rotten. And it's weird. Like a movie like The Last Jedi had a really bad audience score, you know? And a lot of the complaints for that movie, not all, but a lot of the complaints for that movie are like complaints against Kelly Marie Tran, as seen by the fact that like she had to delete her social media profiles, or against Rey, because you know Rey is a woman. Captain Marvel's another one, you know, like bombed, or the audience score was like review bombed, and a lot of people hate Brie Larson because she said some things about making critics more diverse, and people just said, oh, she hates white men. She's the worst. You know? So that's the thing here. The same type of like fan response happened here, but it was sort of opposite. So critics obviously didn't like this movie. So a lot of the response from fans was more along the lines of, wow, this is the first movie directed by an Asian woman in the MCU, and critics don't like it because of that. You know? It was very odd. It was very odd. And then also, it's not really clear in the marketing, but it's also the first Asian woman protagonist in a Marvel film. You know, lead protagonist. So the fans that, you know, liked it and were pissed off at critics and stuff were kind of leveraging that against the critics. But actually, if you look at like, I can't. There's some tweets about like the breakdown of critics and like who liked this film more and who didn't and everything. But I don't remember enough off the top of my head to get into. That's out there if you want to find it. But I just think the response in general was sort of interesting because it's like flipped from what we see a lot of the times. Not necessarily that like what they were saying against critics was true, but it's just an odd thing to have seen happen in the movie landscape. You ready to get into some marketing stuff for this movie?
Sure. So
the first footage was released in May 2021 in the MCU's big return to movie theaters promo. Do you remember that? No?
Not really.
It was like 4 to 5 minutes. I didn't watch it when it first came out because I thought it was just going to be kind of cheesy. And then I was like, a lot of people were like, oh wow, this made me tear up and stuff. Like, not just MCU stands, but, critics are like, oh wow, this is great, So I watched it. It was a really good trailer. It was focused on return to movie theaters because back in May 2021, we thought everything is on the come up, Movie theaters come back, so it's like, wow, this is great. Can't wait to get back into theaters and see this. And before we had an Eternals trailer, there was some Eternals footage in this promo, which is another thing that made it like really exciting. You should watch that at some point because it was interesting, It is really cool.
Well, why didn't you show it to me before we started recording this podcast?
Well, I thought you remembered it, maybe.
Nah.
And it's like 5 minutes. It's long. It's not a trailer. It's like it's pretty long. And by pretty long, I mean twice the length of a trailer, I guess.
Yeah, and like 1/1000th of the length of this fucking movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
So some more things this movie did. They did a cross promo ad with Lexus starring Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo. Lexus, they created 10 concept cars based on the 10 Eternals characters from the film. That's pretty wild.
Did they sell those cars?
No, they're concept cars. They're like, they're not real. It's just somebody put in the work. They put it out there and it's there and we'll never own those cars. R.I.P. Eternals cars. They also did a partnership with Geico with so there was a TV digital campaign featuring the Gecko imagining himself as one of the Eternals, and that's cool because like
I did not see this commercial.
I didn't either. I'm not sure where it aired. It says TV digital, so I would think that means like Hulu ads or something, but I didn't see anything.
But we watch Hulu ads.
Yeah, so I wonder if it was like maybe ads on like the Fox Now apps, the cable channel ads and stuff. If they were more focused on those, so if they're trying to hit like the popular network shows, like Mike and Molly.
What did you name that one?
I don't know. I'm thinking popular network shows. I don't think Mike and Molly's still running. But it was a good one at the time. But yeah, I mean, I love that the Gecko's imagining himself as an Eternal. It's great. We all have dreams, and I think that speaks to a part of all of us,
Okay.
Yeah, interesting ad. Are you curious why maybe Marvel would want to partner with insurance?
Because the monsters create all that damage, and then someone's got to pay for it.
Okay. It was really a rhetorical question. I'm glad you gave it a lot of thought, though. No, so like who's shopping for insurance now? Who doesn't know what insurance to go get?
Children.
Essentially, yes, the children, adults. So the target demographic for movies, the sweet spot, that 18 to 34 age range, is the main target demographic of like insurance ads and stuff. So partnering with them kind of helps the movie reach those people they want to reach. So it's kind of interesting. It's also the audience that is mainly showing up to theaters now. A lot of the older audiences aren't coming out in theaters. Sort of like, The Last Duel. That's a movie for old people, right?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I loved it. I'm an old soul. What can I say? But, Ridley Scott recently blamed millennials for that movie bombing. And it's like, nah, dude, you made a movie for the oldest people on the planet. And they're not going to theaters right now. I don't know what you want to say.
Yeah, that's a good point.
People are also very mad at him about that. And it's like...
Hey, we're not talking about this movie.
I know, but like, I just want to say, a little tangent. People are very mad at Ridley Scott for blaming millennials for his movie bombing. Like, they seem legitimately upset about it. And it's like, he's not saying anything different than your grandpa would say. Blaming blaming young people for everything that he thinks is wrong. Like, it's just normal. It's just normal. Let Ridley Scott be an 80-year-old man.
But how old is he?
Like 80.
Oh.
He's like 82. He just had The Last Duel come out. House of Gucci's about, or it just came out as well. Let this man, like, I don't know. Okay, let's move on. So another thing is that Disney believes that to fuel the return of theaters, they need to cross-promote with sporting events. So they had a lot of TV spots during NFL games, MLB games, college football, and weirdly enough, the Los Angeles Rams were made the prime team for Marvel promotion.
Why?
Well, I'm going to guess because it's LA. Hollywood, LA. Now, why not the Los Angeles Chargers? I don't know. For the one Chargers fan we have listening, how does this make you feel? And when you text me about this, I'll know whether or not you listened or not. So...
Wait, so there are two teams in LA?
Yes.
Do they share the same stadium?
Yes, they do.
Oh my god, I thought that was Josh and you.
They share the same stadium.
What happens if they both have games on the same time?
Well, they don't. The NFL makes sure to schedule over.
Well, what if they play each other?
Well, then one team would technically be the home team, and the other would technically be the away team.
No, they're both home teams.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, for technicalities, one team is the home team. I think the away team gets to call the coin tosses. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, and another interesting thing too is like
this podcast is not about movies anymore.
Hey, it's fine. So there are the Los Angeles Rams, the prime Marvel promotion team.
Yeah.
Like, as everyone knows them. So they used to be in LA in like the early 90s, or up to like the early 90s. Mm-hmm. They moved to everyone's favorite football town, St. Louis. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what state St. Louis is in?
It starts with an M.
Yeah, say it.
It's Missouri.
I think so. I'm honestly not entirely sure, but I think we're right. No one will correct us because I guess no one listens.
That's true.
Yep. Not a single person has been like, "Hey, where's the podcast been the last 4 weeks?"
Yeah, that's true.
Not even your mom. It is a move to St. Louis. So guess what? A couple years ago, they moved back to LA. All right. Well, also there were the San Diego Chargers, and their owner is a piece of shit named Dean Spanos, who couldn't get the city to fund a new stadium in San Diego, so he moved the team to LA. But the Rams are still the main LA team, as in like, so when I say like, oh, well, how's that work? They both play each other there. Like, one's technically the home team, but the Rams will be the home team because they will have more fans in attendance. You know what I'm saying? Cool. So that wasn't important for this episode at all, but I'm glad that we got to talk about that a bit. Anyways, on October 24th, the Eternals took over the game day theme for the Rams home game against the Detroit Lions. That was another little football tangent. That was a new and exciting rivalry game because those two teams traded quarterbacks over the offseason.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's their first time matching up. Who's going to win?
The Eternals.
Yes, the Eternals. She said, "I'm done." This is awful. So our dog was lying on the bed in this room and then just decided to get up and walk to the door and leave.
We finally let her be included, and then she said, "Fuck you guys."
It's official. No one wants to listen to our podcast.
And that was after I was petting her paws, like keeping her happy.
Yeah. Well, anyways, like you said,
the Eternals won.
The Eternals won because they get to take advantage of this great, exciting opportunity. Great. So, also, there are some Eternals toys and Happy Meals across the U.S. and Latin America. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They did a partnership with Urban Decay and had a collection of Eternals-inspired product available at Sephora, Ulta, and Macy's. So, for anyone who loves makeup out there,
I didn't see any ads for that. Well, I feel like I'm like the prime target for that, and I didn't see any ads for it.
Well, listen, Alyssa, maybe you're not. I don't know what that means. I don't know why you seem to take offense to it.
Well, I take offense because I probably spend like $300 on makeup a year, and they should be targeting towards me. And I also watch movies.
I'm just going to assume real quick that $300 of makeup a year is chump change for Sephora or Ulta. I'm going to guess. Moving on, they also did another promotion. Lots of cross promotions here.
Hey, it's Urban Decay who sold the makeup.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter about Sephora or Ulta.
Okay, I guess you're right.
Thank you.
Marvel did another promotion with Ziploc, targeting moms. So children 12 and under responded really positively to this film, in test screenings and everything. But the turnout opening weekend was more dads than moms. This is about 60% dads, 40% moms of like adults, you know? Mm-hmm. Or of parents. But moms seem to like it more. I don't know why that's important, but that was in the article I pulled this stuff from. So you heard it here first. Well, not first, but you may have heard it here first for yourself. Eternals is a mom movie. You know, everyone's talking about dad movies. Like Braveheart, Greyhound, you know, the Tom Hanks movie last year. Finch is kind of a dad movie, I would say, right?
Yeah.
And any war movie is a dad movie, of course. And then you got mom movies. Mars Needs Moms.
I don't think you can just call that a mom movie.
I think it's a mom, because it's like, you need moms, and moms are like, yeah, you need us. So Mars Needs Moms is a mom movie. Eternals is the newest entry into mom films. Right?
What did your grandma think again? I think she liked it.
Yeah?
Because she's a mom.
No, she didn't like it. She said it was boring.
Right.
She's a grandma now.
She's a dad.
Well, okay. Now, there's also some stuff about like censorship that we were talking about a little bit. So, I think we talked about this in our No by Land episode, but Zhao is not the most beloved individual in China due to some remarks made towards the country from a 2013 interview. And because of that and other reasons, given, you know, what's in the film, the gay characters, probably, this film did not open in China. So, again, we talked about the $1 billion number and everything. China is a huge market. So you are taking a hit by not opening in China or not being able to open in China. Due to the depiction of gay characters, the film also didn't open in multiple countries, including Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, and it got an 18+ rating in Russia due to the gay characters. Sucks for those countries, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, that's worth bringing up in the discussion about how it's performing. But again, that's sort of a note, like, Disney has censored their films in the past and, like, taken out a gay kiss or something with films to open in places like that. And they allowed this film, you could say, like, oh, well, they couldn't cut the entire gay, anything gay out of this film, you know? Because it's in a pretty large chunk of it. But they also, like, allowed it to be written like that, you know? Which is not anything to be commended for. It's the absolute bare minimum. But interesting that, you know, Disney would forgo a Chinese release. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, these releases in these other countries that have, you know, valuable markets. So something interesting from Deadline that I read is that Eternals spent upwards of $15.5 million on TV advertising and it reached an estimated 1.2 billion impressions. That's more than Shang-Chi, which spent $10.9 million on advertising and had 1.18 billion impressions.
Dang.
If you're interested in numbers, there you go. Those are some numbers. Moving on to more numbers. Social media was also kind of interesting. So, another article said that 26% of the film's social media reach was driven by Salma Hayek's social media accounts with her 22.5 million followers. I did not know this, but according to social media, she is way more popular than anybody else in this movie.
Interesting.
Like,
I mean, I kind of see it, but not enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that Angelina Jolie. She wasn't mentioned in this article, but I'm gonna guess that Angelina Jolie is probably the second most in terms of social media reach. But just to put it in perspective, Kumail Nanjiani across his accounts has 4 million followers. Richard Madden has 3.4 million. Who was he is the guy who played what's his name, Icarus, also known from Game of Thrones, and then Gemma Chan has 1.7 million total. So I mean, Salma Hayek just really blows them out of the water.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and one last thing I wanted to bring up is Harry Styles. So, as you know, we're recording this movie right after this episode.
We're not
right after.
We're not recording any movie.
We're recording
That's
this episode.
illegal.
We're recording this episode right after this movie came out, so sorry for the spoiler. Just kidding, obviously. Harry Styles is in a post-credit scene of this movie. That was spoiled by like a critic. He wrote a review, and that was like in the headline. Stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. But a few weeks after the movie had been out, I want to say it was about the 3-week mark, the Marvel social media accounts started posting character posters for this film with Harry Styles' character. So it's interesting because they couldn't use him at all in the marketing, and he is huge. He's absolutely huge, you know? Alyssa's sister probably would not have cared much about this movie if she didn't know he was in it, you know?
IDK, she's been more of a film buff lately, but I do think that this definitely piqued her interest a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's absolutely huge. So, like, as a marketer sitting there being like, oh, we got Harry Styles in this somewhere, but we can't spoil it leading up to the movie, it's got to be tough. It's got to be really tough. But they waited 3 weeks and said, okay, the cat's out of the bag. The Harry's out of the bag. Right? As the One Direction fans say. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't. Come on. And they released a character poster for him. So I think that's really interesting how like they still utilize that star power a little bit after the movie came out.
Yeah, but why didn't they utilize it before?
Because they didn't want to spoil it. The fact that he exists, like he's like the brother of Thanos, he like fits into the world in a much larger way and everything. Like they didn't want to spoil that. You know?
I guess.
Now, I will say, why is Harry Styles not purple, and why does he not have a ball-sack chin?
I also thought that.
I don't know. Again, like, we gotta stretch our imaginations a little bit.
Well, apparently this role was written for him, and if he wasn't in it, they weren't gonna do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
Interesting.
Why?
Well,
I don't know, but that's the gig.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'm excited to see a bit more of it.
Yeah, me too.
More of him. I'm excited to see him styling on the MCU. TM. Let's skip the poster. Posters are okay for this film. And let's talk about our own marketing ideas, because we're already getting close to our run time for the episode.
Maybe because you talked about football for like 100 minutes.
It was like 30 seconds, I think. Do you have a marketing idea for this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
So the gadget guy comes out and he's got all these gadgets. Why don't we see a crossover with him and Bond?
Okay.
Okay?
Interesting. And we did talk in our Bond episode about how they want to be more like the MCU.
Or if he presented... Because he wasn't really like, ooh, look at all the stuff I have. He was just like, I have this. Oh, a little bit later. Oh, look, I have this. Oh, look what I created. I created this. If he did it more in like a Bond-style way, where it's like, yeah, I got this, this, and this, and look how cool this is. And then I got this, this, and this. Which one do you want to take? You know what I'm saying?
You could say Q. Q is the name of the inventor for Bond, you know? Mm-hmm. I think Q. Yeah. You could say that... God, what's this guy's character's name in this movie? I don't remember. But Brian Tyree Henry's character is... to the entire world what Q is to Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No, I like that. So I need to say an idea now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well... it has been a minute since I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on ideas a little bit. They did a lot of partnerships, though, like a lot of cross promotions. So I'm trying to think. They're trying to hit the young age. Ooh. They want to hit young people, and they wanted to hit moms. Okay, let me rephrase. They wanted to target young people, and they wanted to target moms. We're not in the mom hitting business. What about Teen Moms, the show. Is that still a show?
It's still a show.
Oh,
I just
really?
don't
Okay.
know what to say to you
What do you...
about that.
Well, on a very basic level, just sponsored, like, Teen Moms brought to you by Eternals, you know? But maybe they create, like, a little Teen Mom extended promo. And you have an Eternal, a different Eternal, one that's not in the movie, you know, that is a teen that has a kid. And this Eternal is a teen mom for eternity. Eternatine. That's what it's called, Eternatine. About an eternal teen mom.
What if that young girl who wants to be a human and gets to be a human, what if they make her pregnant? It's an awful idea.
Anything. It is a terrible idea. But
Well, your ideas are worse. That's why I'm adding on to a terrible idea.
I mean, yeah. I just want to clarify. When we mean pregnant, you mean extended future, I'm guessing, right?
No, because she looks like a teen.
By teen mom, I'm talking about 18, 19 teen mom, you know?
In Teen Mom, they're 15.
Well, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that. The MCU would never go with that. But if you do like 18, 19 teen mom, they still fit in the 18 to 34 age range. The sweet spot, you would say?
No. Scrap your whole idea. None of this makes sense.
I'm not scrapping my whole idea because it's called Eternity and it's very good. Again, I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah,
so.
we can tell. It's pretty obvious.
Okay. Well then, one up me then. You give a good idea.
Okay, so when they like, you know, do all the whoosh, boom, pow, you know, they're all like, I don't know, they got a bunch of different like geometric shapes everywhere. It'd be cool if you put like the different ones for the different characters onto like necklaces and sold them.
Okay.
And this one could be like, this one's about strength. And this one's about, I don't know what the other things they did were. This one's about being innovative. And that one's for like the guy who creates things. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like things like that. And, you know, you add meaning to them, but it's also from the Eternals. It's also Marvel. It's subtle. It's like, you could sell it at box lunch a lot.
Yeah. I have two ideas.
Okay.
Okay.
Before you had zero.
Yes, now I have two.
Okay.
First one is, this movie should be in theaters forever. For eternity. Just always like sitting, you know, the smallest theater in the back of the building, smallest screen. You know, it's got 30 seats in it. If you want to go see Eternals again, if you want to go spend 3 hours of your day again to see Eternals in theaters, it's there. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why it hasn't made so much money yet, because that's their plan, is to keep it in theaters forever. It's just going to be racking up.
Yeah, and theater,
you know,
like theater.
$30 a week.
Theater 10 kind of shit.
Yeah.
At my theater.
Yeah, I guess. Theater 13 kind of shit at the theater I worked at.
Yeah, but that's where they had alcohol.
We're really reaching an audience of approximately, like, maybe 200 people right now. You know? That'll, like, work there and are aware.
But they're not listening to this whole thing. I'm talking to you.
Okay, so
this is a conversation between me and you right now.
Yeah.
No one else is here, not even Dakota.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and no one else is here. It's just me and you. Talking into the proverbial Alyssa void. And you're talking to the Logan void.
What's your second idea?
My second idea is, so that's a big thing in the movie, how like all these stories, like the Greek myths, don't make fun of me, and everything, came from the Eternals, like telling stories and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And they're all named after them. What is the sprite is the one who tells stories and everything. So none of these stories are copyrights. Like no one owns the rights to the story of Daedalus and Icarus, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, publish them as, like, little kids' books, you know? Like, kids' stories. Make sure you market them to moms, the moms that are reading to their kids. But you can have, like, you know, Icarus, the story of Icarus as told by Sprite, you know? That's, like, the name of the series. And you get a bunch of these. You get, like, the Gilgamesh one is told by Sprite, and the Circe, you know?
Yes.
Also, I think it's implied, which you'll love this, that Circe in this film is named, is intentionally named similarly to Circe, the book by, you know, the character in the book by, was it Madeline Zimmer? Madeline Miller?
You're just saying things now.
Okay. Well, anyways, she's supposed to be like that character too. So you can have the story of Circe as told by Sprite. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's actually a really legitimately cool idea.
Okay.
You seem to not agree.
No, it's probably your best idea of the day.
Are you looking up the author of that book?
Yeah, because you just butchered her entire name.
What's her name?
Well, I'm looking. Did
Okay.
I read it this year? No, I might have read it last year. Oh, Seymour Books. Seymour Books, I read it this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Madeline Miller.
Madeline Miller. I think I had a class with someone named Madeline Zimmer. I think. I really don't know.
Hey, guess what the audience you're talking about is like an audience of like 18 people.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, are you ready to end the episode now?
Yes.
Do you have another cool idea?
No.
Okay. Well, a little funny little prank we could do is make this episode go on for eternity.
Yeah.
If this episode feels like it's been going on for forever, that's intentional. That's why we added in a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with Eternals. So you're like, oh, man, this is so long. Mm-hmm. And it's an intentional, it's an artistic choice by us. So I'm glad that it worked on you. Cool. Well, find us on Instagram and Twitter at Marketers Cut. You can find the podcast anywhere you can find podcasts or on YouTube. Learn more at marketerscut.com. I want to thank Jacob Wall for his art. This is why I was laughing. You can please find more of his work on Instagram at Kufnar. That's at Kuufnar. Don't ask me. And yeah, anything else you want to add, Alyssa? Anything else you want to say?
No.
Well, I think our next episode will be on
The French Dispatch.
Yes, The French Dispatch. And just with how busy everything has been, we may not be doing like brand new releases every week now, unless we absolutely can. So some other things you might be able to look out for soon is maybe an episode on The Last Duel, you know?
Oh, what if we did Logan? Logan, I'm going to whisper it to you in the microphone.
Okay.
The Maid.
Yeah, we could do Maid. We could do Maid.
Ah! We should do it. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, what if we even did an episode on it? What if we did an episode on it?
We could do a great episode on Maid, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for listening. Leave us a review on iTunes and tell your friends about us. Tell your mom about us. We're a mom show.
No, not if they don't like the F word. Am I fucking right, Mima?
If your mom's cool and can party, then we're a mom show. You know what I'm saying? We're a show for moms that are cool and moms that can party. And teen moms, because no one's ever thinking about them, and we want to help them out.
Okay, whatever. Right. Whatever you say.
Great. Awesome. Goodbye.